Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pugwatch and I am Metroid 2K. Now today's instance is one we've done already on Pugwatch's Halls of Lightning. The difference being is that we now have two people from the Remnant of the Forgotten with me today. One is my brother P in bear form there when he's meant to be healing, and the other one is Vorlak, who you've seen as Gronker a couple of times as well. Now the reason for doing this video rather than another new instance is quite simple really. This is how you should never ever ever play in a pug. Now if you're watching very carefully you'll notice a couple of times P has just gone bear form and taunted. Now he's doing this on purpose to annoy Vorlak, and instead of healing he should just be paying attention and playing a tree, and he's not. He's quite happily going bear and taunting, and as you'll see this leads to some quite hilarious situations at some point, but it really got on Vorlak's nerves, and after a while it did get on my nerves a bit, I must admit as well. You'll also notice I am on my shaman wearing half helo gear and doing DPS. The reason for that is simple. P and I, when we're playing together, we tend to swap between healer and DPS roles, just so that each other gets a bit of variant and a bit of difference in the gear loots. Now I accidentally pulled aggro there because I wasn't paying attention. Also, yes, I do have a bit of a cold, which is why I sound silly, and the music for this Pugwatch today is actually Fendrana Drifts from Metroid. The reason for that being is the original soundtrack didn't come across correctly. It was all corrupted and garbly, so I've decided to just remove it and replace something a bit more calming. Anyway, this is my first time in a long while playing an elemental shaman. I was enhancement for quite a while, purely because it was worth actually having a crack at. I liked hitting things in the face, but for instances I prefer to stand back and just throw lightning. It's easier. Now, as you'll see with this guild, being a guild group, there will be more talking than usual, although it's only 3 out of 5 in the guild. But one of the guys was talking to us about StarCraft actually. Did we play StarCraft? What were we in? It's quite funny actually because he's in the Platinum League apparently, whereas I'm still in the newbie. I haven't started playing properly yet because I suck tremendously. I recommend watching Total Biscuit's I Suck at StarCraft series if you do suck at StarCraft, but I must admit I'm still suck, so I can kind of see tactics coming at me, but like hell I can counter anything, I just die anyway. Now this boss here, as you remember before, reflects spells after a while, or if you're like me, you forget and you keep throwing spells until you see reflect pop up a couple of times. And down. Now, as you also notice, the boss kept running back and forth away from Vorlak. Yes, that was Pete doing his taunt again in the background on a boss fight. So, as I said, normal pugs, you just wouldn't get away with that. But because Vorlak's tanking, P's healing, and I'm here as DPS, there's not really much objection. But one of the guys didn't realise what was going on. He just thought that Vorlak was a crap tank, rather than not very good at holding aggro. See, there he goes again. Watch the Druid, I like to call this game. If he goes bear, you can almost guarantee you'll see a mob running towards him. Now this made me laugh. Vorlak just said let it kill him, but the Shadow Priest went after as well, so we had to step in. But yeah, I must admit, guild runs with us, especially if P happens to be on a character with a taunt ability, is probably going to be quite hilarious. He has a paladin that he uses for healing as well. And as everyone knows, Hand of Reckoning can be cast without changing stance, changing form, or any other buff. So all he does is stand there and go, Hand of Reckoning, I've got aggro. Why have I got aggro, noob? And of course, over Mumble, I'm just roaring in hysterics at the moment. I'm probably glad I'm playing Elemental because I don't have to concentrate on any more than about 3 buttons. 4 if I'm lucky. Now these ones here, I was actually quite impressed that no one died. P chose not to taunt, and then I found that they're all immune to lightning. So pretty much just boiled down to a bit of AoE down. Now once again, P doesn't like tree form that much, so he tends to jump between druid form and tree form depending on how much healing is required. I must admit, he's not the only druid that I've seen do that. I have seen a couple of druids recently just healing in their caster forms, which is fine by me. I don't mind as long as they can heal. I have had a druid try and heal a heroic in Boomkin Spec though, which was absolutely hilarious because it was my fault when we died. Despite the fact that I was the tank and I was hit capped and everything, it's my fault for dying rather than his for not healing me. Now I accidentally pulled, I wasn't paying attention, I was too busy laughing at Péa and Vorlak again, so I just stepped back and started throwing lightning again. Now one thing you will notice is I keep forgetting totems. Sometimes I do them on trash, sometimes I don't, but they are meant to go down on bosses, and a couple of times I have forgotten to chuck them down, which is quite bad practice of me. You'll also notice I haven't got Flame Tongue enchanted on my weapon at the moment, and I don't realise this for ages. In fact, I don't even think I realised it this instance. The DPS coming out is nice and healthy. We've got a rogue way up ahead of everybody else, then there's myself, then there's a paladin, and then there's Vorlak, and finally P at the bottom. Now, I did ask my brother if he needed that, but he'd already sharded it by that point. Oh no, he didn't. No, he gave it to me. I forgot about that. I thought he sharded it. Wrong character, actually. It's me. I've done so many instances with these two that they tend to all run together. Now this room here again, P starts with old games. For some reason my equipment manager doesn't load correctly either. I went to equip a couple of different bits and save my gear change and it didn't work properly. Once I finished recording it reappeared again, so I have no idea what went on there. Now as you'll notice on my Naga I am an engineer as well. You saw me use the rocket boots a minute ago, and I also carry the gnomish lightning generator, which just gives you an extra bit of lightning when you're firing about. And there's a grenade going in as well. I've also got on my gloves, I've got the hyperspeed accelerators, which increase haste, and I've got the troll berserking below that as well. I tend to do hyperspeed accelerators, troll berserking, and then elemental mastery, which again now has an added feature where it increases haste by, I think it's 15%. Yeah, 15% spell haste for 15 seconds. So I just absolutely go nuts and spam spells when that happens. Now this is my one argument with being an elemental shaman, is that you come across mobs like this where you can't do any damage. Now thankfully this is being removed in Cataclysm, where fire immune mobs are no longer immune to magical fire from mages, lightning, and I'm hoping earth and air mobs that are immune to lightning will no longer be immune to lightning. Otherwise my only way of damaging these guys is to do flame shock followed by lava burst. Now, as you probably noticed now, P has stopped taunting stuff. Although he did manage to get the electric charge, he stood in just the right position, and there goes me with the electric charge as well. I tend to pop Bloodlust on this boss purely because I hate him. I want him to go down as quickly as possible. And P did try taunting the lightning at one point as well. He was a bit disappointed it didn't work. I think we got to one point and he went, I should stop shapeshifting because it's wasting all my mana. And it's like, yeah, you should stop shapeshifting because you're a freaking tree and should stay in tree your caster form. Now around here, these mobs, you're meant to turn away from the group. As you notice, Vorlak's stood in a little bit of a funny spot where they keep turning back around to throw stuff at us, and he's also managed to pull the 2 extra ones as well. Now we get them out of the way, and the random charges do tend to deal a fair bit of damage. Now, as anyone knows, there's a patrol going around the outside of this basin, plus those ones there. I tend to wait for the patrol and take that out first. Some tanks go in, take this one. It depends on the DPS really. At the end of the day, it's the tank's judgment. Vorlak's actually trying to move faster than the patrol. So what he's done is he's run in, tanked them, and he's now run out the other side. And the patrol are slowly moving around behind us. I don't swing the camera around, unfortunately, but they are slowly moving around towards us. But the idea is to move faster than them. Now, I screwed up here because I was looting. As I was running across, I thought, oh, patrol, I want to avoid that. So I stepped too far over and pulled the other pack to the other side instead, plus a patrol. So yeah, he told me afterwards over mumble that I should have just pulled the patrol and he would have pulled them off me, but I kind of didn't think like that. I thought, oh, well, I'll avoid pulling them, and then pulled something else. So yeah, I was an idiot at that point, and I wiped the group. Go me! It's ironic, because I was having a go at Josh for taunting all the time, and then it turns out that I wiped the group just by trying to actually avoid pulling something. As my brother pointed out, he said, oh, I should have just turned around and pulled them like he does. I said it's alright for him, he's got a tank form, I said I haven't. His shield's only for decoration. Now a quick run back through. What's quite funny here is I started racing P because he used sprint and I used my rocket boots, which give me a massive lead, but of course run out sooner, so he just comes hammering around and mocks me. Must admit, engineering is probably one of the best professions in the game in my opinion. I absolutely love it. You can't make a lot of money from it, but it's so much fun just to play around with. I found the Battered Hill once and brought the motorcycle, or brought the materials to make the motorcycle for my Paladin. I must admit it's a lovely mount, but I still don't think the price is worth it. But really I reckon it should have been engineer, either engineer only, or engineers could make a cheaper version for themselves. Because, I mean, it's nice to have a multi-person mount, but I'd love to just have a single-person motorbike. I just love the tech mounts, things like that, the helicopter like my Shaman has. It's the only mount I ever use. I have a macro that literally either mounts my land mount, which is a Raptor, or the Sky mount, which is the helicopter. And they're the only two mounts I ever use on this character. And it probably says a bit that I have about 3 characters that have engineering as well. A Warlock, this guy. Oh no, Paladin's now a dual crafter. He was an engineer at one point, but I've changed him to a dual crafter to make a bit of money, because I just wasn't making money at all. Dual crafting's nice and it makes a little bit of money, but if you want fun, engineer is the way. And although my guild hate me for it, I have sort of said I may well spec my Paladin back to engineering if I choose to play him in Cataclysm. So they're all telling me, no, that we need a dual crafter. I'm like, no you don't, I want to be an engineer again. But probably like most people, I'm still waiting to see what the changes are. I mean, the PTR's come up recently with all the test spells on. I've been playing a rogue on that, level 10, Shadow Step. You want to see it overpowered? Shadow Step at 10. Seriously, you used to die loads doing the quests in Trishful Glades and that. Now it's just, oh look, Shadow Step, you're dead. Now as you saw here, P died because he took a charge and a poison arrow and another charge to the face because we weren't stood close enough. So what I did is I continued healing and then resurrected him with the army knife. Now Vorlak's gone bored of tanking with his axe, so he's now put on his gauntlet. It's from, I think it's Tempest Keep or one of the places like that. It's the Flaming Hand of Aldal kind of thing. Not Aldal, sorry, Flaming Fist of the Phoenix. And he pretty much just carries that around for giggles, I'm sure of it. It has no effect, and he's death capped anyway, but he just loves running around with silly weapons on. I kind of agree, because I had the Horseman's Blade on my Paladin for ages, and a little macro that summoned all the little pumpkin squash things while we were fighting. Vegetable army. Somewhat more effective than the Death Knight's version of a vegetable army. Now I got a little bit turned around here and then realised where we were going, so we ran around quickly. Once again, P taunts, runs away. And then, as he comes back, he says a mumble, excuse me, as he comes back he says a mumble, oh crap, incoming patrol, so we both run forward then. Kill that one. Now Loken, one of my least favourite bosses in this entire friggin' game. Purely because, as you've seen most times, I die on this. Now P actually said to me halfway through the fight, don't run out. And I thought that would have killed me, but it doesn't. I was quite impressed. He manages to just heal everybody up. I suppose as a druid it's probably quite easy, as a shaman it should be. But yeah, I run away, take a fair bit of damage, run back. So I didn't avoid the Nova, and I also would have probably died from the dot tick anyway. So all I'm doing here is I just stand in, take the blast. I probably take the most damage out of everyone because I don't have a lot of health. But still survive it, so it's not really a problem anymore. Loken goes off again, and there he goes. So yeah, that's how not to run an instance. I'm not going to bother scoring this group because again it was mainly guild, but as you can see I enjoy a little bit of conversation, and just Remnant of the Forgotten. We are absolutely crazy when it comes to running instances. We should be a bit more serious I imagine, but we just kind of aren't. As you saw, P will quite happily taunt anything off Vorlak and then blame Vorlak if he dies, and but you gotta love them. That's what guilds are for. So anyway, I have been Metroid 2K, and this has been Pugwatch. Good night.